Alright, how's everybody doing today? Today's gonna be a different stream. It's almost like I'm kind of torturing myself because I just got a Snack Box Micro, which is basically, you know, similar to a hitbox. I'm not switching. Arcade stick's definitely gonna be my main, but I do want to try to get used to this, and I like having, you know, I plan to use it, and do some games on the go with it, but also plan to have it available as a loaner when, in the future, when times are better, when we have guests. So if people prefer to use this kind of controller, so it's always good. So you know, there's hosting reasons, there's greedy reasons, there's because I want it, because it's toys, you know. But this is going to be really hard to get used to for me, 100%. So I'll probably try to throw myself in the arcade. I can't even navigate the menu very well, so I am going to be playing like a wimp right now while I try to get used to this thing. So we'll see. I am so not used to it, but that's what this stream is for. And let me see if the start button, that's the start button, good. Check our inputs. There we go, okay. Oh boy. So how do we do circles? Not that I need to. The other one needs this, needs that. This is the rhythm. Because the buttons are a little smaller, it's a little tricky for me. I can see why Tricky plays like Korean style, which is in Japanese style. This is guard. This is punch and this is kick. Your thumb, your index, your middle. Korean style is very much similar to old American style, which is you use your index guard, middle finger is punch, and ring finger is kick. Tricky uses this because he uses a hitbox. I can see why now, once I've touched one, that like this actually feels more comfortable in this layout and getting your hand out of the way. But I will still try to do this because this is what my muscle memory is on my right hand. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so... Whoops. That was mistake number one. Sorry about that, Joe. The layout is very interesting on this. So... That is... Options, okay. No... It's gonna be very interesting. Alright. Square. Oh my gosh, I cannot even use menus here. Have fun at my expense on this. So let's see how this goes. And decide to stream it to give an honest reaction to how this is and how hard this is going to be to do. As far as the way that the Snack Box Micro is, it's pretty cool. You push a button and it changes color. It's kind of a nice lighting experience on this thing.
The big time player is here. Round one.
Okay.
Ready, go!
Okay, that's good. This is way better than the WASD style already. Oh, but my brain is so not used to down being there. Yeah, this will be tricky trying to force using my right hand this way too. Let's try this. Oh my god, I still want to push this to use forward, and that's not forward. It's kind of funny. Alright, so that's going to be start. Start's going to be right where my index is, where share's going to be over there. Okay. Learning the hard way. can't even, like, I'm so not used to even guarding with this thing yet. It's like hilarious. Anyways, how's everybody doing today? Did everybody have a good Christmas? We're gonna do the best way to learn is playing arcade mode. Oh my god. It's interesting that that's like what my brain wants to do. Like my brain does not want to do like it wants like middle finger to be forward, to be right. Just because index is left. So it's funny how the brain is like that on the first getting used to this thing. I'm training muscle memory and making this natural. 2D Fighter is probably the way to go because that'll quickly solve some of the issues. I have to muscle memory every single move in the game, so that's okay. That's not so terrible. But it's definitely like how I'm gonna like get used to this thing. Okay, just get used to guarding would be good. It's VF. And not just guarding normally. Oh god, that's so okay. Let's get used to that. Yeah, probably not the most interesting stream, but I'm trying.
Ready, go! Bring out!
Alright, let's try half circulars. They're a lot better on this than on velocity setup.
Ready, go!
Okay.
Knockout! Round two. Ready, go!
Let's get used to that.
Knockout! Round three.
It's gotta be really funny to watch.
Ready, go! Knockout!
Okay. This is very
Round
interesting.
4. Ready, go! Knockout! See? I thought I'm better. Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go!
Oh, throw escapes are so hard.
Knockout!
That's gonna be a hard motion to get used to.
Ready, go!
You can do it fast though.
Knockout!
Okay. So it's gonna be like that. That's gonna be weird to get used to the up inputs.
Ready, go!
Hey, how's it going, Sorensen? I'm testing out the snack box micro, which I think you have one, right? If I'm not mistaken, you have one as well.
Knockout!
Oh. Hope the stream isn't too boring. It's just me messing around in arcade mode with the snack box micro, getting used to this hitbox style controller. I still am committed to arcade stick. It's just, but I wanted to try this. Okay, I'll do that in a sec. Let's see here. Okay, so let's turn up the mic share buttons. That one. So hold that down. Just microphone volume. Alright, that should be better. How's that? Is that better? Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is pretty cool, but it's really hard to get used to. My brain is really messed up. But I'm slowly, move by move, I'm getting used to it. Muscle memory is getting better. Certain things are so, like, my brain feels like it has to rewire so hard, though. It's way better than the WASD. Like, the WASD, it was impossible to do half circle forward. I have no problems doing half circle forward or back in this. So, it's just getting used to where the directions are. Is really the hardest part. Also, because of the size, the 22 millimeter, or 22 centimeter, because of the size of the buttons, that's also tough. Like, getting used to that is a little hard. And of course, I'm not at all playing like normal, and that's fine. It's just, but it is tricky. But there are some things that actually seem easier. There are things that roll off, like, that actually way better, which is better than the experience I had with the WASD, right? The WASD, the problem was a lot of stuff just didn't work with the buffer of this game. And I didn't expect the WASD to be good anyways. Like, it's just not my style. But the hardest thing for me doing this is actually doing up moves, because I have to rethink, my brain has to rethink. It took me a while to get used to, my brain wanted my middle finger to be forward, to be right, when it's down, right? And I know it's down, and I use it that way, but there are times when, like, I wanted to hit forward and I would do that instead. So it's just a moment of rewiring my brain. But it's not so bad. It's like 10 minutes got way better.
Round one. Ready, go!
Yeah. The right hand is tricky, but the thing is I mean, because hitbox is just basically keyboarding with an arcade controller, right? Because this is how you play like platformers, or like 2D platformers on keyboard, and because that's spacebar's jump, right? And that's where I think the inspiration comes from. It's just like playing WSD or ASD with like jump, you know, being space, and that makes sense. But you know, in the arcade stick layout, I think that's an uncanny valley effect that I have to overcome, where it's just like just enough like an arcade stick where I want to do certain things and I have to get used to that. So I kind of cheated. So the fun thing about being a BF player is you kind of learn how to improvise your move list a lot, your tools. So I think that helps me with adaptation. It's not helping me with my accuracy. It's helping me just like kind of finding a way to play the game. Because this game requires you to do this. I think this game encourages you to do this more than a lot of other games do. And that's one of the skills in BF that's a little tricky, because a lot of people are not used to improvising like this way. Like VF, a lot of games are like, clearly this is good, clearly this is bad with the moves you do in the move list. But in this game, you actually should treat each of your moves, your attacks, as like a tool, and that you have different ways to use them. And if you do that, you have kind of like, you can improvise a lot of things. I don't, you know, like, it's clear that when I play, there are really good things that I do, but there are also things that like might be like things I improvise in the moment that just happen to work because of the system, like, you know, that might not be optimal, but it's because I'm like, oh, okay, well, right in that moment my brain is freezing to find an answer, and it finds a quick answer right away, and it's just using some moves in a different way, you know. And I think Virtua Fighter's always kind of encouraged that. I think it's not encouraged. Virtua Fighter's always rewarded that like, treat your moves as something you can do in a weird way, you know. And the game won't really punish you for it as long as it fits in the system rules, you know. Yeah. But I still, yeah, like, obviously my intention is to completely be 100% playing on stick, but this is cool, and I'm gonna still try it out for another arcade session run. But yeah, this is the Snackbox mic I got. It's really nice. You push a button and it glows, you know, that's kind of a cool experience, right? And then you hit it again, same. But yeah, they're neat. So I like this like afterglow effect, or after image of the color. The reason I have trouble with the right hand is only because the size of the buttons. Like, my right hand is running into my left hand a little. And so I think that's why Tricky completely just uses like index on guard, but I'm still insisting on doing thumb on guard. But like my right thumb and my left thumb are like really close to each other when I do that. So it's pretty cool. How's everybody else doing tonight? Yeah, I think like, I do think 2D Fighters is really the way to learn this thing, because you're going to do a lot of stuff that's just going to work out right away and kind of encourage you and get that muscle memory up there really quick. And I do think that, I do think ultimately this style controller is extremely efficient, to a point where it can be arcade stick on a lot of things. It's just, but it is unintuitive. And unintuitive does not really win mainstream support. It's a very hardcore thing. But arcade sticks are also hardcore in a different way, and are also things that people have to learn to get used to when they play fighting games. So technically both the hitbox and the arcade stick have learning curves. I like arcade stick. I think it is more intuitive while still, and I think a lot of the games classically were designed to be expressive with an arcade stick. But hitbox is really cool, hitbox style. But I don't want to call it hitbox style anymore just because there's that lawsuit, and also because, you know, I do want to support more people doing different controllers. I want hitbox to be successful, but I want junk foods to be successful with their Snackbox Micro, because they create a really cool controller with that inspiration of that layout. So, you know, but of course, hitbox probably has a claim to be made that they're like the Kleenex of this realm, you know, because people associate this layout with hitbox, and so there's a ubiquity aspect to it. But yeah, just navigating the menus feels weird, right? But it is a good way for me to get used to that. This is down, this is up. My middle finger is down, my right finger's up, right? And it doesn't bother you if you play a 2D fighter once you're playing the game. But it's still, your brain is so messed just getting used to this. Yeah.
Round one. Ready, go!
Let's try this. Who should I try? What's a good character? Lei Fei's a little too much. I don't think I can do Lei Fei. I can try Lao. Let's try Lao. Lao might actually be the right thing. Aoi will be very interesting. I'll be so interesting in this game. I'll be very cool with this controller.
Round one.
Maybe.
Ready, go!
Ah, that's what I'm talking about. Like my instincts want to press down. And so I've got to get used to just that, holding forward this way.
Round two.
So that'll be.
Ready, go!
Okay, that'll work too. So this. Yeah. Also getting used to diagonals. Oh my god, diagonals is something else. This will be a trip. Oh my god, that's so weird. This is the weirdest motion, hitting 4 buttons to do that. Hitting 4 buttons to do that one move is like the weirdest thing. I'm gonna just practice doing that because that's gonna help me with my up diagonals. It's so weird. Evading up is also bizarre because of this thumb, because it's not a 2D fighter. Oh, thank you, Taka. There you go. There we go. Ah! So this is like down back punch and kick, down back punch and kick, and then up forward, kick and guard, and then punch. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing this is like specifically the muscle memory my diagonals. But it's the problem. Okay, so the problem I have with this style controller is it detaches because it's so anti-intuition. It abstracts the inputs, right? And because it abstracts the inputs, your brain is thinking everything as a single move, right? It's not really thinking of them as up, down, left, right. It's just thinking of them as like the inputs themselves. And so this takes a while to get used to because you have to. It's not just like. Your muscle memory is not just going in this like intuitive sense of what the moves are, which is how they were originally designed, right? It's going with an abstract sense of them, and so player 1 side is 100% different from player 2 side. And getting used to that is very weird. So that's Yeah, like this abstractness is very takes a long time to overcome. Or I imagine it will. Okay, that's good then. I need to learn this move. There we go. No, there's an intuitiveness, like, so, there's an intuitiveness to the arcade stick that matches the gamepad, but it is true that there's a learning curve. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, and it's, like, you know, but of course I come from playing in the arcades, Virtua Fighter, and that's why I love Virtua Fighter. So then, adapting to gamepad is a lot easier. Gamepad is surprisingly intuitive. But arcade stick is also intuitive, but there's technical challenges with it, and yet it is better in my view. Like, for me it's better than gamepad. But this thing, because this thing abstracts everything, puts the directions in totally separate things, it's different than learning arcade stick. Learning arcade stick, you know what you're supposed to do, your brain knows what you're supposed to do, but you're just getting used to technique. This thing, you're reprogramming what your fingers are doing. And you're you're thinking of diagonals as the two separate inputs that they are, as the combination of two inputs. And so diagonal is just really rude for a game like VF that has things like down forward, that has like 3-3 as an input. And right now, like, I can't even do throw escape guard because my brain is just not like thinking of the directions. Whereas like if I was just learning like on arcade stick, I would actually be doing guard throw escape at the very least. But this thing is different because I'm like, my hands are like, wait, no, you want to do it this way, you want to do diagonal this way, you want to do the direction this way. Your up is really the thing that throws you off, but that's okay. It makes sense on the 2D fighter because jumping is more of a function as opposed to a direction. But in this game, like, I'm pressing my thumb to move into the screen, and so I have to think of it as like a separate button, but it's not with my right hand. It could be, but yeah. But it's not so terrible. Like when we talk about like this, it sounds like I'm making it sound like it's terrible. It's not. It's just, but it is anti-intuitive. There we go. I gotta hold it down. So I have to reprogram myself for VF too, for the way the system works too, with this game. I'm glad that Lo has easy to do combos though, so. Yeah, but you definitely would feel something. Like, you would feel the difficulty of going from pad to stick. That's 100%. But this is a totally different leap. This is almost like switching your hands on the arcade stick and trying to play like with your right hand on the arcade stick and your left hand on the buttons. It's kind of like that. It's even more than that, I'd say. But it's not, that doesn't mean it's horrible. It's just like it's such a barrier. Yeah. At least I can do this now. So it's like I'm getting used to it though. Like, my brain is starting to make the connection, but it has to really put them separate. Like, diagonals and up, down, left, right are totally different things to me right now because of this controller, or because of this style of control. And in VF, like, you're using diagonals a lot. I can see why stagger feels weird, but I also think you can like learn techniques that would make stagger really good. Yeah, it is. Trying to play reverse stick upside down, but I can't emphasize enough how weird it is for the diagonals to be this way. Like, the WASD might have this in as a. The only advantage I might feel that the WASD has over this is the intuitiveness of the layout of WASD, but I don't like what it does to your hands, so. I am getting used to guard though. I mean, but like right now, I really feel like kind of like the beginner where every move is not really connected. Like I can't flowchart properly. I have to pre-script what I'm doing for it to flow. And so sometimes it looks good because of that. So like, okay. So what WASD, the problem with WASD is your up and down are double duty. On a WASD setup for a fighting game, your middle finger has to do the work of both up and down. And on Virtua Fighter, that's kind of problematic for me because you want to do things like up into like, you want to go like from up to 3, so 8 to 3 to 3 a lot. And so your middle finger is kind of like, okay, I'm doing up and then I'm doing this thing. But sometimes it cramps you up a little and it's not that comfortable. Having them on separate buttons is better for ergonomic reasons, but it is anti-intuitive, right? WASD is intuitive, but yeah, WASD is intuitive, but but I just don't like the double duty of up and down being on like that, just because of like the type of motions I do in Virtua Fighter. I do a lot of that 8-3-2-3 that I told you, up to down forward to down forward. I do that a lot because of my character, but also because evade fuzzy guard is a very powerful technique in this game. And you've seen me do it a lot. You might not know that's what I was doing. That's gonna get me. I'm gonna do like down punch when I want to hold forward and do punch for a long time. And I don't have to hold forward, but holding forward like increases your accuracy with combos. So right now I'm not doing. So this will be cool. Doing Lao stuff is actually going to be... Lao is a really good character to learn this control on. I sound like Jake Jung when he gets upset. Well, most people don't know what Jake Jung sounds like because his mic is set to private. but I know he sounds like that. This is hard. Oh, because I'm doing up and down. Okay. So doing up is weird. I do think that once you get used to it, it's insanely accurate. And once you get used to it, it's also insanely fast. Which is why, like, the advantages are huge, but it's just unintuitive. But when you overcome the unintuitive barrier, then I think this input might be the best input. Like, I do think it's the better input style or the direction, but I also think that something feels missing. And Virtua Fighter really is coded for arcade stick, but the good thing is at least, for some reason, WASD was really hard to do like half circle forward. I don't know why. I don't know why that would be different here. But here, half circle forward, not a problem. But half circle forward was really hard with WASD. No. So right hand's very different only because the smaller buttons, because this thing is using the hitbox like inspired it's using the hitbox layout, which uses like smaller buttons, and that alone changes things because, but also because you feel crowded with my left thumb getting used to things is running into my right thumb a lot. But once I get over that, then yeah, it'll feel the same. I mean, I play gamepad with like a layout that makes it feel like arcades. It makes it feel like the arcade, and that is that I use square as guard, and then I use but the more important thing is I use R1 as punch and R2 as kick, And this is because in Virtua Fighter, like that's how you push the buttons in the arcade. Is guard is on your thumb, punch is on your index finger, and kick is on your ring finger or middle finger. And so because of that, these three fingers, like in Virtua Fighter arcade stick and arcade, then like if you make that the same, you have no problem. And it's only 3 buttons, so you don't feel like you're stretching to ever reach a button. And that's what's wonderful about the Virtua Fighter button layout. Yeah, so, yeah. So Lau is a very nice character to try. Jackie is probably another good character to play hitbox style on, so at least I'm starting to get used to it, but I'm not using up much. I'm still, like, my brain still is tying in knots for that. But I think what I will do is I will take this with me with my Switch and play like Blaze Blue on my Switch with this thing. Something like that. Oh man, really? I got hit by the bots? I know. Right now I'm not in the phase of doing moderators yet, but I do trust you. But I just put myself not. But I appreciate that. I'll fix that. I'll ban them in a sec. In fact, I'll do that right now. Okay, let's ban this. Okay, is there a report? Is there anyone else? Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. But I really appreciate you hearing me out on this experience. I wanted to share this experience. I didn't really want to, but I felt like, well, I should share the experience of playing this thing on the first time. This really is the first time playing the hitbox style control. I've never played it before. I've never played the hitbox. Yeah, and it's cool. My brain is not playing this still on an intuition level at all. It's just doing stuff that it knows is gonna work. So that's like against humans, I will totally die. Right now, I get away with some stuff because I just kind of know what's gonna work here. But like, but that's okay because that's the point of today, to get used to this control until it becomes more natural. What I would say though, this style of control, if we were playing, ultimately it would be awesome for old school, for like modern, for VF4 era. But learning it would be a real pain in the butt. But eventually, you could probably do a crazy amount of throw escapes. Like you could probably do more throw escapes on this thing. If you developed a technique, you would do it more consistently and with more accuracy than with arcade. Like, that's almost for sure. Like VF4 players would love this thing, but they would have to get used to it as a problem. And also, they would have to wait for an era like right now where the arcade stick is like, where like a console future or a future where the arcades allow you to put USB controllers on there. Once that happens though, once USB controllers are allowed in Japanese arcades, the Japanese players will use more custom controllers, will use more hitbox style controllers too. But right now, you know, like, it's got to be Sanwa because that's the standard, and Sanwa is amazing. But, so you got to get used to the feel of Sanwa to play in the arcades in Japan. But if they ever allow you to plug in USB devices, I think we would see more of like the custom controllers, but also more of this And when you have more of this, it would be interesting. And seeing it in the VF4 era would be nuts, because I think you would see the players that devote themselves to doing high level, like the ultimate defense option selects, using this controller. Some would do it with my muscle memory is already getting used to this a bit. Some of it, not all of it. So like, I like Ultimate Showdown, Final Showdown because the escapes are more reasonable. But I'm capable of doing multiple throw escapes in those games. It's just that I saw too many people that couldn't. Like it was such a barrier. And it wasn't just a barrier, it was an excuse to not play the game. It was like, oh yeah, we like that, but now VF is just too hard for us. And I saw that expression everywhere, right? So I do think like that will just never happen in the VF6. That's right. Buffer kicks. Oh my god. Damn draw combos. And I'm not used to, so now the next step is going to be using movement. Because right now I'm not, because I'm still getting used to just doing moves. It's because of the reputation. It's a few things. You know, during the time of Virtua Fighter 3, gamers had a pro hard bias, had a pro deep bias. Like, it's got to be deep, which we still want it to be deep. Everybody still says deep, but it also implied that you wanted things to be more hardcore, right? And it's like a street cred. And the problem is there's like a point where that's a little too much, because then you've given up on accessibility. And then they wanted things to be even super easy, right? There's a balance, right? Oh, okay. So that's where my brain is screwed again, is it kept heading up and down at the same time, instead of up and forward, because my brain wants to intuitively use that down button as a forward. So yeah, the reputation comes first from the game being deeper, but that translates to some people as that means harder, either because you got to learn more, or you got to use harder techniques. But really with VF, it's just more about deeper application. It's about how to use your tools better, and how to fit them in different contexts, and then how to come up with a solution for the way your opponent's playing and then reading. And you build all these skills in VF. That is the big gap that happens when someone's learning VF versus somebody that's experienced. And that's also why when the higher level players in VF keep saying you're going to have to lose a lot, you're going to have to play a lot, it's not because you're going to lose a lot just to use a move, but to learn where the move works, where it doesn't work, and to get a deeper sense of that, but also just all the experiences from what your opponent throws at you. And just getting a deeper feel. So this is, I do feel like this is a game where it rewards you if you like to sandbox your fighter. If you like to just try everything out. You like to play with every tool in the toolbox. You know? It rewards me because I like to play around and tinker. And be like, oh, okay, I can do this and I can do that. And I want to hit with this, I want to hit with that. But then you have like the Japanese style of just, these are hard rules that you follow. And principles, and this is how you maximize them, right? So it also rewards that too, because that's kind of the stricter knowledge. But I feel like the game rewards the deeper knowledge too, of being like, oh, I can do this with this thing, and I can use the system as a framework to understand what should work and won't work. But at the end of the day, I have to just beat what my opponent's doing, and I have to solve the problem my opponent gives me. It's not, I'm going to only... If you min-max, sometimes you assume too much about your opponent. You assume that they're going to do things that they don't do. But you need to be a little greedy and attack the things they're actually going to do, and not just what they should theoretically do. So I think there's a trap for intermediate and early advanced players to just like always assume that an opponent's going to always fuzzy guard. And so Juicebox has kind of overcome that barrier he might be taking it further now because maybe too far, because now he's like, but not really. But what he's at the phase of like embracing that you got to attack what your opponent's doing, and then you got to use your knowledge advantage over them. So that's correct. But he might now have the attitude that like nobody's fuzzy carding, but they do. And so but he's really good. He's good at self-assessment, but it takes him like time. So he'll self-assess. There's stuff he self-assess really well right away, and then stuff he'll self-assess a day or two, like that it'll click a day or two later, and he's applying it. And so with more experience, he's going to shrink that time into within the same session, and he's going to just be able to switch tracks in this game. And that will take him to like a whole nother level of play. If there's a habit right now for Juicebox is that he might get obsessed about certain things that like it upsets him subconsciously, and then it rises to the surface, and it's just like it becomes flat out annoying to him, and then he'll become obsessed with it. But again, my style of play is really annoying, and it's because that's conditioning. So let's talk about we've talked about reads. Let's talk about conditioning, right? Reads are when you realize what your opponent's going to do, okay, and you work with that knowledge. So that's acting on a read, okay. Conditioning is putting so much pressure on your opponent for them to do the thing you want to punish, right? And I do a lot of conditioning in my play. This game rewards both so much. It rewards reads, it really rewards conditioning too. And so the hard part is if you're being conditioned, that's a real frustrating feeling if you don't realize you're being conditioned. And it's not something I do 100% consciously, it's something that's just because I've played so much. I kind of like, I can sense when it's working or not to a degree, but I also get conditioned easily too. And so you see that happening when I fight really strong players too. You may see them out-reading me, that's one way to beat me, or you might see them completely condition me, and then just be ready for when I finally break, when I finally cave into the answer, but the problem is I'm doing the answer that they want me to do. And sometimes, but the great thing about VF is there's a lot of times there's answers that are different from that. That's why VF feels really deep and rewarding for us, is because when you get into the reads and the conditioning and you go past that, you realize there's just so many like Venn diagram option selects that cover 2 or 3 possibilities of what the opponent does, and then or really well cut off what they want to do, and then so you just kind of break that. Like you find things that are going to overlap, and like go like, okay, he likes to do like out of these 5 options, he's got like 3 things he likes to do, and I've got this one thing that'll beat those 3 things. Eventually you run into that VF, and it's really cool when you can kind of do it whether you know it or you don't know it, but it's in your play, you know. And sometimes if it's in your play, that's from experience. But you can study it, and sometimes like Juicebox is a type who will be able to do that from knowledge. So yeah, I thought it was awesome that he took his first step into the Akira Academy today. And well, he's always had his foot in the Akira Academy, but he made it much more clear that like this is another day where he fully studies Akira, because I think he's done this every time he's made a character transition. He'll like practice a few things with Akira and kind of assess whether like it's time to try it or not. But I have a feeling, but from what he said, it sounds like there's a lot of possibilities of who he's going to focus playing on. He might focus on Go again, but he might do Sarah. I think he was thinking of Jackie, but then he was like, I think maybe Sarah. You know, and they all have different things that they work on. Sarah is awesome if you embrace the Okizeme and you embrace knocking your opponent down, and then you want to punish them. But you can also play Sarah on a very tactical, strategic level. I think Black Alert does that. But I really like Dark Nova's approach of using that Okizeme, but also playing a more safe-oriented game that frustrates your opponent, and that's another kind of conditioning. If you play a very, very safe game, you're going to test your opponent's patience. And also, so we got C Money versus Black General here. And this is really Simon Shun. Really good fuzzy guards by Black General. It's too bad that they don't convert into like, maybe because it's online, but they don't convert into an automatic like attack. But that's same for me too. You know, like I'm not at the level of punishing failed of whiff throws, but a lot of players are. One way to do it is automatically with fuzzy guard attack, but there is a there are punishments for fuzzy guard attack. Fuzzy guard attack is doing a fuzzy guard and buffering an attack after your guard input. So you just you do a fuzzy guard, but you barely tap guard, and that's because if your opponent actually does the mid, you'll block the guard, but you're only tapping it because you're timing it so that after that you would do an attack, so that if your opponent didn't do like an attack that caused you to block, like they did the throw, you would end up ducking under the throw, tapping guard, but letting go quickly and doing an attack. So that's fuzzy guard attack. Fuzzy guard attack is an option select that's incredibly powerful, but you also have to learn to turn it off because it has weaknesses. The weaknesses of fuzzy guard attack is, one, do a slow attack. Well, the weaknesses of fuzzy guard automatically is to do a low attack will automatically beat a fuzzy guard. Usually, doing a low throw will flat out beat a fuzzy guard because the fuzzy guard wants to duck the throw, so they're in a crouching state for the timing of a low throw. So low throw kills fuzzy guard, right? But fuzzy guard attack beats the mid and the throw, and it especially kills the throw. So the way to beat fuzzy guard attack directly, aside from those methods of beating fuzzy guard, is to do a slow attack, because what happens with a slow attack is the opponent only taps guard and they start doing their attack, and now their attack is late and your attack is already on its way, so you're going to get a counter hit. So but you got to do a move that's really slow. And then another way to beat fuzzy guard attack is to actually let them do a string, like a 2-hit string, because they'll simply guard quickly on like the first part of the string, and then they'll try to attack into the second part. So there's awesome techniques, but they're not invincible. They're all very beatable in very simple ways. But sometimes it takes a while for you to figure out how to beat them. But anyway, sorry I probably bored everybody with that chat. Let's see here. Oh boy. Always gonna be so hard to play. Like, that's way too hard. And I will play her in a very dumb way. Gosh. 2, 3. Yeah, let's try reading again. Let's try this one. I think this is your favorite. I think I'm ready to get used to certain other motions now. I'm not going to do everything, but I'll get used to some stuff.
Ready, go!
So hard to get used to this combo, but I will get it. There we go.
Round 2. Ready, go!
So hard. Okay. That's how I bounce. Okay. Two-player side is going to be so hard to learn too. So that's the funny thing about. So the thing I don't like about hitbox style controls or snackbox micro is player 1 and player 2 being radically different. Like having to learn player 1 and 2 so independently more than arcade stick. You know, arcade stick's a matter of getting your muscle memory, but it's just a totally different thing. Well, this costume was actually inspired by, I think it was Silver Ginza a long time ago who inspired me to use this costume. So I actually copied somebody else's costume design for this costume, and I was like, oh, that hair is actually really cool, especially with this kind of shirt. So the top half is based on that. I think I just changed the pants. I think they used a different kind of pants. I'm so glad that half circulars work good on this thing. Like, I'm so glad that I don't have, like, they work as I think they should work. They work intuitively, half circulars. It's so good. Because when I played WASD, they did not. I think WASD, what's happening is you're just doing them way too fast. So it actually might be faster with this keyboard. I think I know the combo to do this. Oh, so awkward to do this thing. Yeah, something. Yeah, let's use beat main controller next. It is something. It feels like doing that, to be honest. It really feels like I'm playing with the beat main controller. I'm not even joking. Like that's how this thing feels. And I think Rayblade has one of these. Yeah. Do you have this style of controller, Rayblade? Like, I assume you do, because I feel like you're the type that would have one as a spare for a friend that needs to use this type of controller. But I feel like you would never use it yourself, except a little bit you'd play around with it. Which is probably like me. I mean, this thing, I'm not planning to make this my main controller. But hey, you know what? If we watch, I know that Blade of Sorensen also likes the YouTuber Nihongo Gamer. And that guy, he did not expect to like hitbox style controls. Like, he was like so sure he would never do it, and then he was like, and then it became his main controller for a while, and this one was. Yeah, I see. That said, I am getting used to this like pretty quickly, but there's a lot of things that I'm still totally screwed up on. But it's starting to make more sense in my brain. Like, my brain's mapping it. But this is still hard for me to do. And the 4-4K combos are hard because of 4-3 people staying. Like, that one my fingers ache. This is so hard to make. It is. It's a new typing language, 100%. I agree with that statement. For the right hand on stick, I've never used small buttons, but I don't know if that's the question. But I would say I've never used small buttons, so I'm getting used to it though. It's so hard for me to flowchart properly though. And I almost got that. I almost got side throw escape. I'm happy about that. That's a big change. This is still hard. So, okay, so I never use macros, and that's because I'm used to the arcade layout. So as I told you, like Virtua Fighter, you don't need macros if you're using thumb, index, middle finger, and even if you're using index, middle, ring finger, you don't really need macros in this game because everything's there, and it's like you don't. Once you get used to this layout, using just these three fingers for guard, punch, kick, or even these three. You never really need macros in this game. You really don't. The only time I used it was when I was playing BF2, like, and I still didn't. I didn't use macros. I just kind of moved. I just made sure I had guard button in a lot of places until PS2 era when I started using R1 and R2. So again, guard is square, R1 is punch, kick is R2, and when I do that, it's the same three fingers. Never need a macro. The only time really for macro then is Akira's knee on gamepad, because then you want to hit two buttons and let go of one. Like you want to smack one button while, like hit two simultaneous buttons because one of them is kick and guard and the other one is just guard, and you just flick the kick and guard but while holding guard. You know, that's the only time I've seen people use macros, like felt like they needed it. Holding forward and punch, this is still hard for me. Doing the... Like, I want to hold down. Down and forward is still messy for me. This is going to take a while to get used to. So now my new project, 8K. I have to integrate 8K so that it feels more natural.
Ready, go! Knockout! What a knucklehead!
So for me on gamepad, I actually don't use macros just because of this 3-button layout that I use for gamepads. Because it's not necessary when just using these 3 fingers.
Round 1. Ready, go!
Alright, there you go. So hard to do that move. Some of these things are so weird. I'm trying to train myself on fuzzy guard now. Getting used to doing fuzzy guards. I like stick so much better for PF. So, the reason I like stick is because of the improvisation that you do with like evade throw, like the option select. There is cool stuff that you do, and you've seen me like evade, crouch dash, and then kind of see an opening and do like a move according to that. And right now it is, I mean, eventually I'll get there with this, but it feels so natural on arcade stick and it feels so satisfying. Like, because it was good, like, it just, some things just feel so good on arcade stick in this game. And that's one of them. That said, this gets more tired. Honestly, this is getting tired maybe because of muscle memory. Just building the muscles that facilitate all this stuff. I can see why Tricky feels like they can't play long sessions. This gets taxed, and you got to build some extra forearm muscle in your left arm for this controller. I'm already feeling the fatigue right now. And I'm used to fatigue. I play tennis, but this is something that I'm feeling. Like, I think arcade stick, I just don't have that. There are issues with arcade stick, but I never felt this type of fatigue. Man, up has become such an unnatural direction now. Yeah. I think, seriously, like, it's no joke what Ray's saying. Like, it's good for this, it's to get the icy hot. GPK. Guard, punch, then kick. Yeah, G is with your thumb, and it's better that way, because guard, you want to use it like, it's like an afterthought button in this game, so guard on the thumb is great, because these two fingers are more important with punch and kick, and guard you can just, like, do just enough, so the thumb on guard is fantastic. Now, Korean layout and American classic layout is guard on index, punch on middle, and kick on ring finger. But I really love Japanese layout, and I switched 21 years ago, almost 22 years ago. I switched and never looked back. These three was way better than these three for me. But it did take a while to get used to this. It took maybe a week, a few days. But once I got used to this was fantastic. Because American Arcade is these three. So, yeah. Yeah, so... Game over. Let's see here. Dude, having you guys for this conversation while I get used to this is awesome. It's helping my muscle memory way more. So... But I won't be able to. I have to play characters that I'm comfortable with the move list, and Aoi is a little much. But some moves will be way easier. Actually, let me try that really quick. Her command throw should be actually even easier than normal. So let me see. Actually, it'll be unintuitive at first because of the freaking up. So that's a good way to train it. Is her command throw. Korean layout is similar to a classic American layout. It's you would use like your index finger on guard, your middle finger on punch, and your ring finger on kick. I don't like it because I don't like kick and guard on the Korean layout. I've never liked that combination. This feels way more natural with your index just standing out. Just doing guard and kick is way easier on the Japanese layout. The Korean layout, and American layout, you're doing like this for your kick and guard, right? So yeah. So Korean layout, classic Korean layout. Koreans have actually kind of switched to Japanese layout, but the original Korean layout is the same as the American layout, which is that index fingers on guard, middle fingers on punch, and ring fingers on kick. And it's like the top 3 buttons on Street Fighter, or the bottom 3 even. Technically, a lot of players. If you're using an American arcade stick, then if you're using like an American arcade stick, Japanese layout, guard, punch, and kick. these three. So guard, punch, and kick. Korean layout, you just do the bottom three. Guard, punch, kick. You could do guard, punch, kick, but it's better this way. And you can do both layouts on arcade stick. You can set this as guard, these two as punch, and then these two as kick. And you would have both layouts in one. I do that a lot when I have... In Virtua Fighter 4 Evo during college, when I wasn't going up to Portland as much anymore to play VF, I found Korean players at my school. And one of them is still in the US and is on PSN. I just found out, so that was awesome. He's in one of the VF groups, so he's still playing VF. But in college, I found two Korean friends that I played Virtua Fighter with like almost every day. And so to accommodate their use of the Korean style, I just kind of set the buttons that way that I told you. That guard is basically is X, square and circle are both punch, and then kick is triangle and whatever's next to circle, because every arcade stick's a little different there. So yeah, let's see. Okay, half circle, back throw. There we go. Oh, okay. Let's show the inputs. We've got it. Yeah, messing around with this, I like it. I'm starting to get used to it. Arcade stick is still my heart and soul, but I'm getting used to this. I'm overcoming some of the abstract barriers. There's still a lot of abstract barriers I have to get used to. There's a lot of muscle memory, but it's getting better. Yeah, sorry for the noise, but I do like the keyboard sounds. Do not mean for this to be an ASMR stream, but... And because this thing uses... I think this uses Cherry switches, maybe it uses Omron. I like Cherry, but I have a feeling it might be Omron. But Cherry would be more popular, but Omron is cheaper. Yeah, I am still 100% arcade stick player, and there are things in VF that I feel are so satisfying on arcade stick. Still way more, but this thing has definitely got the accuracy and speed. And this is way better than WASD. I hate frickin' WASD. I cannot believe how impossible half circular inputs were on WASD. And I don't like WASD because of the double duty on your middle finger being down and up. Like, they should be separate buttons if you're gonna go buttons. I feel like it defeats the purpose, but some things like, I've heard King of Fighters is good with the WASD. And you know, obviously first person shooters are amazing with WASD. So, well, the thing that, actually the combination of D-pad and arcade buttons that I recommended was the ThumbPad Pro, or the ThumbPad Pro. I recommended that to Harley, and they seem to like it a lot. That thing looks really good. It has a grip similar to the Wii's D-pad. It's like they cut apart a DualShock, but it's got the D-pad on a grip attached to a big box that's got arcade buttons, and you can move the grip into a position that's comfortable for you. But they do recommend that it's resting on the floor or the table, so that you're allowed to put pressure on it and it won't manipulate. But you get allowed to put it in a comfortable position for yourself. I won't do that. That's not going to be what I plan to play on, because I think it's less efficient for me for VF. There are some games, maybe Tekken, where that's going to be amazing, but that thing looks like an awesome alternative for people that want to play pad but want the responsiveness of the buttons, arcade buttons. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Thumb Pro. Yeah. Or I keep thinking it's Thumb Pad Pro. It's Thumb Pro, I think. So I think the reason I keep you half circular is I make him look like half circle, right? But a lot of people do this. Okay, that does work though. Too fast? Yeah. Then there's this. I forgot what the combo is. I think it's... Okay, Akira's knee will be a pain in the butt to do on this controller. Why? I'm used to slapping guard and it looks so bad on screen. So I'm used to hitting these two buttons at the same time and then flicking guard. And knee is going to be weird. Let's try it. Let's try knee. Let's see how the Akira knee is. Yeah, I'm starting to get used to menus with this controller. Oh my god, that's so hard. So, the way to do knee, I think, is going to be actually a two-handed technique. It is hard to do knee. Like, you almost want a macro because you're going to hit up. So right now I'm doing two hands. Right now, I'm literally doing this, like, kick, guard, goo, goo, like that. That's how I'm doing the knee, is I move my, instead of forward, I'm, like, sliding my index finger so that it's gonna hit guard. Still hard to do. Man, I don't know if I can ever do knee on this arcade stick without changing the button layout, without adding a kick button, without adding a guard button somewhere. I don't know if I can do it. That's gonna be so weird. I don't know if I can do it. Because up is in the way. Yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen, is I'm gonna assign like another kick button or something, or another guard button, you know? But doing two hands like the only way I know how to do it right now. So does anybody know what the knee input is? It's you hit kick and guard at the same time, and you gotta let go of guard in one frame. And the classic way to do it on Samba buttons is to flick the guard button. And it's really hard to do that on Snackbox Micro. Okay, good. Ah, so unintuitive. So unintuitive. Okay. Oops. Oh, there's R3. Okay. Okay, this is hard. Oh my god, I hate this motion. I cannot play Leon 2-player side. Yeah. Hey Harley, I'm using Snackbox Micro. So, that's what you're seeing. So. If you guys, okay, this input would be cool. I can't even do it if I want to. There we go. Oh, I'm glad you like that layout. Yeah, it'll take a while. Especially, but I recommend thumb. I 100% recommend Japanese layout. I'm biased, but I've played with all the layouts. And I'm just saying, I like it way more. I have played, like, I can play American style. That's fine, but it's harder to do stuff like even the knee is annoying for me to deal with. I can do this though. Like, yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta not press down when I want to do this. Muscle memory feels so different with this move. I hate diagonals with this thing. I can do everything with a pad. Not as good as with arcade stick, but I can do everything. Almost everything. Knee is hard. But I can do everything but the knee. Don't worry, Harley, I'm not switching to this control style. I'm just I will mess around with it and I'll play with it on Switch. 3D movement's gonna take a while to get used to. Like, I can do the cancel stuff, but actually doing it as a fluid Korean stuff is gonna be a while. It's weird. Man, they made this so much easier in this game. That's all you have to do for this game. I'm so used to doing the full body check input, but you don't need to do that. Hey, mister, how you doing? I'm messing around with this thing right now. It's awkward. So that's why I'm torturing myself. Snackbox Micro, it's a hitbox stop controller. Alright. So it's like this. This is left, down, right, up. Guard, punch, kick. Yeah. Yeah, the four button layout. Rainblade, do you prefer the Neo Geo layout, like the classic Neo Geo arcade, like these 4 button fingers, or do you prefer the Tekken style layout? So Harley, the reason is because it's like keyboarding, and it makes sense if you're playing a platformer and you're like using a keyboard, and you're like left, down, forward, and then jump. So think of the thumb as jump, right? Now, in a fighting game, jump is up. That's the reason. It's good though, because you've separated this, like, the problem with this style control is it's abstract as F. It is really abstract. And because it's abstract, it's counterintuitive. And that is a hard barrier. On the plus side, it's actually really, when you take away the intuitiveness, that as much as that sucks, if you're talking about input speed, it's pretty good. Except that I hate my ring finger. My ring finger is not that dexterous. Low dexterity on this thing. But it hasn't been too much of an issue, but it's been an issue because I'm trying to do, like, back, down, forward is a hard motion for me to do on this thing. Between the two, like, they're 2 different muscle memories, left and right, on player 1, player 2. So yeah. Yeah, so in King of Fighters on old SNK arcades, you just basically, it's like Virtua Fighter 3. Guard, punch, kick. You know, it's just like, but it's weird. It's like, light punch, light kick, hard punch, hard kick. And it's weird for Americans that are not used to that layout. But there's advantages to playing King of Fighters that way, in my opinion, as opposed to the Tekken layout. But Tekken layout's great. So, funny thing, Mr. and Harley, imagine doing Akira's knee, but the up button is in the way. so that's why. But also, these buttons are not really great for that. Like, these buttons are awesome, but they're using really good mechanical switches, but they're not the Sanwa buttons. And Akira's knee really wants to use like Sanwa buttons so bad. It wants to use arcade buttons, as opposed to these really nice looking micro switch buttons, mechanical switch buttons. Yeah, so. So that's just hard as F to do. That's not happening today. That said, I am kind of getting used to this. Is the first day I've ever used this style of control. I can say that I've used the WASD and I hate it. I knew I was going to hate it though. And so I'm biased, but I knew I was going to hate the WASD. But then but I do like this style, but I love arcade stick way more. Like, arcade stick is gonna be, I'm arcade stick for life. I'm just gonna say it. I know that for, like, that's like a fact. But this controller is very cool, and I think this has the most advantages, except for the intuitiveness, which is a huge factor. It means like you have to spend a lot of time rewiring your brain to play with this thing. And then the other thing about this style controller, because it's so abstract, player 1 and player 2 feel very different. Like, you have to train yourself to practice player 1 and player 2. You know, you have to already on arcade stick, but you know, arcade stick has a natural weakness. People's different grip techniques try to accommodate the weakness of the player 1, player 2 imbalance on technique. But this thing has less of a barrier for that, except that it's so counterintuitive that you have to learn moves left side and right side, you know, until you get used to them. So. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, on the KOF stuff. Like, it's really about preference. I play Tekken style, but in my mind, I think if I learn how to play 4 in a row, I think that's actually better. I think because I play BF. Oh my god, I hate this one. How much this is. So 4-3 P plus K is so hard for me to do on this style controller. It's not. It's like I have to consciously do it still. And then up. Okay, I have to remind myself, practice up.
Ready, go!
A lot of things are so not natural though that I have to like play a lot and chat with you guys so that it becomes a muscle memory instead of, and try to break the having to consciously fix it part.
Round 1. Ready, go!
I cannot do half circulars anymore. It's like I've suddenly forgotten how to do half circulars. There you go. Yeah.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Okay, let's get used to that sequence. Okay, this sequence is gonna teach me how to get better at this controller too. Half circle forward is very unnatural though. Even like, yeah, it's easy to it's still easy to screw it up. It's just like I had the rhythm earlier. The problem with half circle forward on these controllers is it's rhythm based, like because of the way they're coded. When you're using a controller like this, if you do it too fast, it won't count. No, it won't work because of the way VF buffer works. So like half circle forward's always bad. Like on the WASD, half circle forward and half circle back are the worst. They are the worst because VF doesn't like those inputs. Like VF wants you to do them in a very with a certain timing that's natural for arcade stick. And so right now I'm struggling with half circle forward punch, which I wasn't earlier today, but now I am because I'm doing it too fast. See, like now I'm doing that on accident. So now I've got to tell myself, do the half circle forward, and yeah, it's something else. And up K is so unnatural for me right now. It's a totally different move. It's just yeah.
I thought I'm better.
What did you say there? Yeah.
Round one. Ready, go!
Alright, I have to get used to this move if I want to do damage on my lane.
Round two. Ready, go!
Yeah, stick. VF is so designed for stick. Crouch dashing has become awkward.
Ready, go!
Ah. Up forward is one of the most awkward things to do too.
Ready, go!
That is such a weird motion when you think of it as 3 buttons. Like I cannot do wall combos. Like tomorrow's project will be wall combos.
Round five. Ready, go!
I want to try doing 4-4 P plus K against this Eileen.
Round one. Ready, go!
I agree. I think MK definitely. People are used to MK, but they complain about Virtua Fighter having guard for, like, guard as a button, but they don't complain about it for Mortal Kombat. So, like that's like the history of BF is. I can't get used to guard button. Let's play Soul Calibur and for Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Man, this is really interesting. This is a lot of fun, but it's weird.
Ready, go!
Okay, let's do that combo.
Ready, go!
Gotta hold forward though, so it's hard.
Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go!
So weird.
Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout! Anytime! Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go!
Yeah. She has no key, but right now I'm just trying stuff out. I'm using this mode to just get used to inputs, so... Ah, damn it.
Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout!
At least up can be done with either thumb. But I really should make it a habit of using left thumb as much as possible.
Ready, go!
Alright, that's better. Using my left hand for the up.
Ready, go! Knockout! Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 4. Ready, go!
So, my brain is so scrambled. Playing two-player side, suddenly it's like, wait, how do I do this technique again?
Round 1. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 2. Ready, go! Knockout!
So unnatural.
Round 3. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 4. Ready, go! Knockout! Round 5. Ready, go! Knockout!
My brain's getting a workout trying to get used to this.
Anytime! Round 1.
It's fun though.
Ready, go!
so hard to do? Why is 4-3 P plus K so hard to do? My wall combos are hard to do on this controller for me right now. Yeah, the diagonals really take time because it's like 4 inputs. It's like I'm hitting 4 inputs to do diagonal plus P plus K. It's like what 4 buttons?
Round 1. Ready, go! Round 2. Ready, go!
Get used to that thing.
Ready, go!
Alright. I'll try, Ray. I should be able to get it though. I haven't had trouble with that one.
Ready, go!
I cannot anymore.
Round 1. Ready, go!
It's hard for me to do ACD right now, but I'll get used to it.
Ready, go!
So weird. I can't do my normal. Like right now, this matchup's hitting my brain. It's fun. It is a fun challenge getting used to this. It does feel like playing with a Beatmania controller, but it feels really good. The Snackbox micro is a very nice feeling.
Ready, go! Knockout!
Okay, that was an interesting evasion. What did I do there? Whoop. That'll be fun to learn those.
Ready, go!
Sound is important. Actually, I talked with Renzo about this. There is one big disadvantage that arcade sticks have in Virtua Fighter, and that's sound. Like when we're playing offline, like we're always listening to we know you have to kind of get a technique to cover what you're doing when you're doing on Wake Up, because the Wake Up game Okizeme is. You can hear when your opponent wants to tech roll, wants to mash to get up. So they got to make their tech roll sound like a mash, and they got to make their sitting still sound like a mash by hitting empty buttons. And if you don't have a visual barrier, you can see what they do. This has always been the case. Like VF5, we were doing this a lot just naturally. Like it wasn't like we were doing it on purpose, but we kind of just do it when we play. Yeah. So the silent buttons is really good for that purpose. Because when you play offline Virtua Fighter, the Wake Up game is spoiled by the sound, unless you either have masking techniques or you're using silent buttons or gamepad. So the arcade stick problem is just like people can hear what you're doing, and when you're doing it on those type of things. So you can develop a technique to mask it, or you can just silence it, or you can cover it. Yeah. And I heard King of Fighters has a similar problem. Yay, I did that combo. I was hoping I could get that. Yeah, the foam inserts will do too, yeah. That said, yeah. So, it is a weird thing about VF. But hey, it's better than the problem with PC, right? PC, someone's going to create a bot for it, but they could do it on any system. But as long as it's visually checkable, you can create a bot to do stuff.
Ready, go!
It does sound like that. Yeah, it's because they're using keycaps. Oh, how's your Nakon Daija now?
Ready, go!
That thing looks awesome. Diagonal up is weird. Yay, I did it. I did some diagonal stuff too, it's so cool. Yes, Wolf loves to hug. Yeah, so that's the good thing about that is that the directions are masking your attack sounds.
Round one. Ready, go! Ring out. Round two. Ready, go!
It's what happens when you play offline, you know, on arcade, on console, not on arcade. So let's test something. Let's test struggling.
Game over.
What's a good test of struggle? Just do Lao. How easy is this to break Lao? Oh, I need to see that. I didn't see that. Are you talking about the movement? Or is there a stagger technique that he has? Down and up? Okay. I can't do that. I don't want to do that just because of the buttons, the way I'll press the buttons, but... Dang it. I'm still not used to this control yet. Okay. It's not going to be accurate. It's not going to be accurate. So much easier. Okay, good. We're in check. just time it like usual. Just wait until that red. So I tested something with Renzo. You know the Taka Leon supposedly. So supposedly Leon can do half circle back against Taka and do pounce. That's not exactly true. There is a way for Taka, human Taka to break it. They have to time when they do the roll. They have to time their input for this. They have to time their input for the roll. They can't just do it right away and mash. They can't try to mash out of it. But if they push at a certain timing, they'll avoid getting pounced. It's weird. So timing is important. So what I tested with Renzo was basically in this game, for just like the stagger situation, timing is kind of important. You want to start your struggle when the red comes up. That will matter more. Sorry that I've got censor on there, I don't know, but I'm guessing that he just said curse word. So, yeah. So yeah, Renzo and I tested that, and human Taka can escape it, but they have to, so counterintuitive. This is still going to take a while to get used to. So this is going to take me a long time to get used to. Especially two-player side is really going to take me a long time to get used to. My wall combo is going to be a while to get used to, especially two-player side. This feels like the most unnatural thing in the world. Thank you guys very much for watching. I am going to go rest soon. Because a lot of stuff at the restaurant I have to prepare for in the morning. I have to assess how bad the snow situation is and whether we open late or at all. Most likely we open, but we open maybe late, maybe on time. But we'll see how the snow is in the morning. That said, thank you all very much for watching, and I'm gonna see if we can raid somebody cool, raid somebody we like, and this has been a lot of fun playing with the Snipebox Micro. I like it a lot. Arcade sticks in my heart, 100%, and I still prefer the feel on a lot of things. But I think I can get used to this thing, and it's neat. And there will be some techniques that will be better, and some that are worse. So it's good stuff. Let's do, looks like Chicken Leon is on, so hey, how about that? So let's send you all to Chicken Leon, and thank you all very much. Chicken Leon's a player from Japan, so and, I've seen them before. They've been pretty nice. All right, take care and have a good one.